Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Midway, this new historical epic spectacle brought to you the weekend of Veterans Day by Roland Emmerich. And I was a little worried Roland Emmerich making this film because he's not exactly known for the most subtle and respectful way of creating a big blockbuster, because Godzilla from the 90s and Independence Day is a lot of fun. But those are not real events, and taking on something like Midway and showing the attack on Pearl Harbor and being afraid that it's just going to be a spectacle and not do justice to the men and women who died. Many people died during the bombing of Tokyo by Doolittle and all these different kinds of things, but honestly I was really surprised by how much respect and restraint was shown in this film. They didn't glorify the violence, but it was an intense film and really well shot. Those dive bomber sequences throughout this film are extremely tense, really well made, despite the fact that the special effects don't always work the best. There's really obvious green screen scenes, but overall, this is a really well constructed kind of action spectacle when it's that time for the film to do that. It is 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it does feel long in the tooth, especially towards the end where it's gearing up for the climax, and it's like, okay, we get it. Like, speed this up a little bit so we actually hit the climax and you're not just dragging through the film. But the story is delivered in a very straightforward kind of way where it's like, these are the events that happened, and it does give a chance to see behind the curtain a little bit with some of the characters. And honestly, I was really impressed by the fact that this showed the Japanese side of things, and you really got some of that, and you got a little depth to them, and it wasn't just like these faceless kamikaze Japanese fighters like you might have seen in some older war films. It shows that dynamic, and that's an interesting part of the film. The cast, Patrick Wilson is great as always, and he has some really good moments in the film. Ed Skrein I was really impressed by as Dick Best, and he carried this film in that lead role. And I was impressed by him, and he showed some confident swagger and then some vulnerability as well. And those two were real anchors for this film to feel connected to. Woody Harrelson gives a much more subtle, reserved performance, and I really appreciated it. Luke Evans is in it. He pops up. Dennis Quaid gets to be rough and tumble Bill Halsey. And, like, he really rocks that role. Aaron Eckhart gets to be Jimmy Doolittle, and he's rough and rugged as well. And they have their moments. And honestly, this cast is well put together. It's a really respectful film. It's not a great film, and it doesn't go in as much depth or poignant as it could have been, but it's a respectful film dedicated to this battle and what led up to it and the lives that were lost leading up to it and those who gave their lives during it. And this is really a special film to go out and see this weekend for Veterans Day. And I had a packed house when I went. And it was a really good film. Wasn't a great film, but it did a fine job. And I would recommend Midway. Unless you really get averse to action, because you're going to get it. There's explosions, some pretty fake-looking fire, and not so great special effects all the way, but you really grab that energy and tension and thrills of those moments. And Emmerich does a fine job directing this film. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think about Midway. And thank you as always for supporting your Wasteland reviewer.